In 2014, limousine driver Mad Mike Hughes climbed into a homemade rocket and launched himself 1,300 feet into the air. Mike claimed he needed to go even higher, to reach outer space, so he could see with his own eyes whether the Earth was actually a sphere. While it is easy to dismiss Mike as a lone daredevil, his conviction is shared by a massive segment of the global population. 10% of Americans, 3% of people in the UK, and 7% of Brazilians genuinely believe the planet is flat. These are not people who cannot read or write. These are educated individuals who watch documentaries, join online communities, and argue the mechanics of their worldview with total sincerity. If lack of education isn't the root cause, it forces us to look past the curriculum and into the way the human mind handles the truth. This movement suggests that for millions of people, the scientific consensus has been replaced by a different way of processing reality. This process often begins with a heavy reliance on immediate intuition, the feeling that what we see right in front of us must be the ultimate truth. This chart illustrates the 1838 Bedford River experiment. Samuel Robotham stood at one end of a 6-mile stretch of water and looked through a telescope at a flag. Because he could still see the flag, his intuition told him the water was perfectly straight. He was unaware of refraction. Light bends through different air densities, projecting a mirage into his line of sight. This demonstrates the Dunning-Kruger effect, where a small amount of surface-level information gives a person massive, unwarranted confidence in a subject they don't actually understand. Modern flat earthers fall into this same pattern. They look at a horizon that appears perfectly flat and choose to trust their gut feeling while dismissing the invisible, complex mathematics of gravity. When the scientific truth requires difficult, abstract thinking, the brain becomes highly susceptible to a simpler, more intuitive explanation. To maintain that simple explanation, believers are forced to construct increasingly elaborate physical models that defy established physics. They argue the world is a flat disk, with the North Pole at the center, ringed by a 150-foot-tall Antarctic ice wall that holds the oceans in place. This diagram shows their alternative for day and night. They believe the sun and moon are only 50 kilometers wide, circling the Earth like small spotlights that cast limited cones of light. These ideas are often bolstered by taking ancient religious metaphors and treating them as literal geometric facts. When biologist Alfred Wallace physically demonstrated the Earth's curve in the 19th century, believers simply changed their arguments to avoid the evidence. Sustaining a model this disconnected from reality requires a belief that every global institution is working together to guard a single secret. This leads to claims that the United States and the Soviet Union, bitter enemies who nearly destroyed each other, secretly coordinated to fire nuclear weapons at a dome covering the Earth. Once a person accepts that all governments and scientists are conspiring against them, their critical thinking shuts down, trapping them in a manufactured reality. In 2020, Mad Mike Hughes took his final flight. His parachute failed immediately upon launch, and he died when his rocket hit the desert floor. In the days following the crash, his public representative revealed that Mike never actually believed the Earth was flat. Mike was a stuntman who had struggled to fund his projects. He realized he could rake in thousands of dollars in donations by pretending to be a flat earther and telling that community exactly what they wanted to hear. A community that defines itself by its refusal to be sheep was effortlessly scammed by a man who used their own intuition against them. The real danger isn't the shape of the planet. It is that when we abandon critical thinking for a more convenient reality, we leave our minds wide open to exploitation.